owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment, and you are?
I'm Carolyn Aranda.
And we are the owners of DPL Surveillance Equipment, a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about our company, Carolyn?
Yeah, we've been in business for 20 years. We have lifetime guarantee warranty on all our products. We have 24/7, 365 customer support. We have layaways, we have rentals, and of course, sales. You can purchase our items.
Now, speaking of the rental program and the layaway program, they are our creative financing programs. In other words, customers use them to add a certain amount of flexibility to being able to afford our products. How does the rental program make the purchasing or the renting of the equipment more affordable, by the way?
With the rental, you just put the down payment of the retail amount of the item, and when you return it, you just get charged a weekly fee plus the shipping and get the balance back.
Okay, make sure I understand this now. Instead of paying some exorbitant fee like $500, $600, $700, somebody just gave us a plus. Thanks. Mahir Ibrahim Baduk, thank you for joining and welcome aboard. So instead of me giving up my $300, $400, $500, $600, I can actually rent this product for what, $95 a week or whatever,
yeah,
and keep the balance and get that back actually minus the rental and the shipping fee, right?
Yeah, the rentals are basically like a trial. If you really want to buy the item after you've had it a few days and you're happy with it, then you can go ahead outright and purchase the item. If not, you just send it back with us and you get your balance back.
Okay, so I can try out the product before I buy it by using the rental program.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And if I don't like the product, I could just rent it for a week, 2 weeks, or whatever. Maybe I don't have a permanent need for the nanny camera or the GPS tracker or the bug detector, so I just return it back, right?
Yeah, same thing with layaway. You can tell us how many weeks and what amount you want us to take out every week, twice a week, once a month, until it's paid off, and then it's yours.
Okay, that's fantastic. I think DPL surveillance equipment is ingenious for coming up with these creative financing programs for you guys. So keep in mind that no other company is offering this. Me and Carolyn, we came up with these ideas, these solutions for you guys, and now you can have the same state-of-the-art law enforcement grade products that the FBI and the CIA and everybody else uses. Now, what about the video library? Let's cover the video library and the articles. What about those? Can we tell the viewers?
Video library is an extensive library of videos of all our, most of our items. I can't say every single one, but that's an extensive video, and we're showing you how to use the product, what it looks like, etc., etc.
And some of the products include that we're going to be demonstrating are
nanny cameras, listening devices, trackers, personal health protection, what else?
body-worn hidden cameras, right?
Yeah, body-worn hidden cameras.
And you mentioned trackers, nanny cameras,
listening devices,
video recorders, voice recorders. Okay, that's a good variety. They can go to the website and see the rest of the items. Now, that pretty much is the video library. Welcome, Nathaniel Daniel. Awesome one. I love that. It's the best I ever recorded. The best ever recorded. Thank you very much.
We're trying.
Appreciate it very much. Please stick around, you guys, because I think we're gonna have a very interesting show this evening. Now, that covers the video library and the articles directory. What can they read about? I know we have a million subjects.
Oh boy, there's targeted individuals.
Right.
That is a big one. You're being gang stalked.
Exactly.
Etc., etc. About credit card hacking, being tracked by somebody.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
And the electrical hypersensitivity And what about the people who always ask us about GPS jammers and blockers? They can read about that too over there.
Yeah, that's only an educational
Right.
video, by the way,
Or
or
article. Right.
Yes, we don't sell those. They are illegal, and
Well, let's let those guys look at and read the article to see whether or not it's legal. That's going to be a teaser for you guys. Go there and find out whether or not it's actually legal, and you call us and tell us what you think. Okay, that covers GPS jammers and blockers, and people talk about intercepting cell phones, and can someone intercept my cell phone, or can I intercept someone else's cell phone text messages and voice calls? They can read about that too, right?
Yes, they can.
And they can find out whether or not that's legal or not as well.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So in other words, you guys, we have an extensive amount of articles, 200 or 300 articles and counting, and then anti-terrorist related products and technologies. You want to tell them about anything about the anti-terrorist efforts?
Oh yeah, we have X-ray baggage scanners, drug detectors, and people can order those to help protect your consulates, airports, churches, U.S. borders, Mexican borders.
Airports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said airports.
You said harbors, and right.
No, I didn't say harbors.
Okay.
Now I'm going to say harbors.
And ports, that's good. And ports and etc. That's good.
Yes.
And the explosive detectors. Did you talk about the explosive detectors?
No.
Okay, well that's good.
Have those too.
Okay, you guys, if you're in charge of protecting your country's borders and airports and embassies and federal buildings, call Carolyn, call me, and we'll help you. We'll take a look at your tenders or your bids or whatever, and we'll help get your deals. We only have millions of dollars worth of equipment out there that we placed in the Middle East and Africa and Egypt, Nigeria, and Saudi Arabia. You name it. We've shipped out products to those countries. And so let's give them a phone number. Move right into this particular episode.
Okay.
What's the phone number that they can call just in case?
888-344-3742.
Okay. So you guys, thanks for bearing through all of that.
The introductory,
right? And what's the name of this? And what episode was it?
Number 19, and it's notes. It's for CyberSecurity Newsflash number 19, episode 19. Hackers defeat bank two-factor authentication.
That's right.
And drain customers' accounts. Oh boy, just when you thought you were safe, no. The bank's antiquated.
Now this is a big issue. Two-factor authentication. We've been advising everyone to encourage and to activate and put two-factor authentication on your, like you did with your Gmail accounts. Put it on your the various sites where you log in and get financial information for your financial companies, and wherever you can. We've been saying two-factor for the longest, but we're finding out that the bank's implementation of two-factor authentication is just a little bit flawed. Okay, let's get into this article and find out what exactly is going on here. Okay.
Maybe we need a three-factor authentication.
Probably. Right.
Well, it looks like a known flaw in the messaging system that underpins global mobile phone networks have been hacked by cybercriminals to intercept two-factor banking passcodes. O2 Telefonico told the German Süddeutsche Zeitung newspaper that some of its customers had been affected by the attacks, leaving their bank accounts short of funds. Wow, what else is new? Its statement read, a criminal attack was carried out from the network of a foreign provider in mid-January. It redirected incoming SMS messages for certain numbers in Germany to the attackers.
Wow.
The issue apparently lies with the signaling system number 7, SS7, protocol, developed in the 1970s, which allows networks around the world to interoperate. It allows attackers with access to a network's operator system, either via hacking or paying a corrupt insider to effectively access the back-end systems of any other operator around the world.
Okay, let's stop right there. Now, we have a system that was developed in the 70s, right? This SS7, and otherwise known as the signaling system, number seven. Now, if this was actually, this came out of the 70s, and if it hasn't been improved upon, I guess there's no wonder that hackers are able to compromise it, right?
Yeah, it's called antiquated.
Now, do you think we should call our respective service providers who are providing the cell phone service? So it seems like this is a messaging system. It has more to do with how we communicate using our mobile phones and how that works with the websites, right?
Yeah, I guess we have to remind them that there's something better out there to protect our security.
Now, I think I'm going to call Verizon first thing in the morning and let them know, right?
Going to hear Monty yelling and screaming.
From here, from California. And no, this is serious, you guys. Look, call your respective mobile phone service provider. Let them know that this messaging system, otherwise known as signaling system number 7, is flawed. And actually, there have been hackers in Las Vegas who have demonstrated in a public forum how easy it is to hack into even a U.S. representative. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but there was a U.S. representative from Congress who actually was he was using a demonstration, so people can see how easy this is. So we need to put some pressure on our telcos and have them fix this issue. Otherwise, they can provide free cell phone service to us until they fix it, because I think they have a defective product. Right. Okay, let's read a little bit about the specifics, okay? This appears to be what happened in the O2 Telefonica case. Although it's unclear which phone operator the hackers targeted first, the hackers are said to have already gained access to the victims' bank accounts by phishing their logins or launching banking malware, and transferred funds out once they intercepted and entered the required one-time passcode. The same SS7 flaw could also be used to listen in on conversations or even pinpoint a user's geographic location, it claimed. Now, that's kind of interesting, because if a bank or anyone who compromises this system wants to listen in on our conversations and pinpoint our geographic location, that means this SS7 protocol is so flawed and so dangerous in terms of how it's implemented that any hacker, any stalker, any person who wants to harm us can basically hack and compromise the phone and do a lot of damage, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's crazy. The issue was made public at the end of 2014 when researchers demonstrated at the Chaos Communication Congress in Hamburg, Germany. It was put in the media spotlight again last year after a 60-minute broadcast in which white hats demonstrated how U.S. Representative Ted Lieu's phone messages and conversations could be intercepted. And we have a link that we're going to provide to the YouTube video showing the 60-minute episode where this representative's phone was compromised, just to demonstrate how easy it is. And this is on 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes is a popular broadcast show in the United States. But you can access this on YouTube just to see for yourself, you guys. So this is serious stuff. It's possible that the telcos have delayed taking any action on this because they believe the global community of operators would never let a hacker access back-end systems. However, an expert told Deutsche Zeitung that access could be bought for as little as 1,000 euros. What do you think about that, Carolyn? What do you think about that?
Well, it sounds like they're selling off our privacy. That's what it sounds like.
Now, if there's all these telcos spread all across the planet and they're relying upon the trust of employees who may or may not be disgruntled, may or may not be interested in taking advantage, it's basically a system of trust, right? Well, that doesn't sound like a very good system.
Sounds like distrust to me.
It sounds like we need to either have a system that cannot be compromised or have a system that's wide open where all it takes is one angry employee or vendor or supplier or somebody to compromise the system.
Anybody on the inside can.
Anybody on the inside for 1,000 euros. I think that's probably $700 or $800 US or something. But that's not very much money to compromise a phone company's security protocol. What else can we say about this?
Lou has repeated calls he made last August for the FCC to get the problem fixed. Both the FCC and telecom industry have been aware that hackers can acquire our text messages and phone conversations just knowing our cell phone number. That's scary. It's unacceptable. The FCC and telecom industry have not acted sooner to protect our privacy and financial security. They never act quickly enough.
Exactly.
I urge the Republican-controlled Congress to hold immediate hearings on this issue.
Wow.
Michael Downs, Positive Technologies EMEA Director of Telecom Security, argued the news will be a wake-up call for the industry. While no one denied vulnerabilities existed, they always deny everything until they're forced and never have to prove it. Both the FCC and telecom industry have not been aware that hackers can acquire our text messages and phone conversations. Oh, sorry, I repeated that already. While no one denied vulnerabilities existed, the sector believed the risk was minimal. However, as this incident shows, they clearly open mobile users up to the same kind of mass cybercrime problem that internet users have suffered from years, he added. Of equal concern is that diameter. The new protocol for 4G and 5G networks is similarly vulnerable despite being designed as a platform for thousands of emergency IoT applications, from cars to connected cities. Networks must accept the threat, educate themselves about the attack vectors being used, and move to monitor and neutralize the problem. If they don't, the brave new future where everything is connected will suffer.
Okay, now this is kind of important because we're going to be moving into 4G and 5G as a standard in the United States very quickly. And according to this, they're saying that even with the 5G, it's no different. They haven't considered this vulnerability. In other words, we're going to have the same issue. It sounds like with the SS7 protocol. It's built into the system, and 4 and 5G networks are going to have the same flaw in it. So again, I think we need to call our respective and tell them, give them my name if you want.
Call them tomorrow.
Tell them, look, you got a defective product. Yeah, you know it, we know it, everyone knows it. And again, we don't need to pay any money for any phone service, for any phones for that matter, until they fix this protocol, okay?
Stop trying to hide everything.
Right. Anything else you want to say before we move on to the next article?
No.
Okay. Now, everybody and their brother-in-law should by now have heard of this massive worldwide cyber attack, okay? If you've heard of it, raise your hand. Okay, so there's a lot of hands being raised. Can you tell these guys anything about the cyber attack, Carolyn, in terms of what's going on?
Well, Cybercriminals mounted a massive worldwide attack.
Still ongoing.
Days ago.
Yeah.
Oh. Microsoft complains state hacking tools fuel cyber attack risks. Hacking tools, okay. Microsoft Corporation said the software tool used in the global cyber assault that began Friday came from code stolen from the U.S. National Security Agency. Ooh, that's not good. Adding that the attack should serve as a wake-up call, for government over the risks of hoarding such digital weapons for use against their enemies.
Right.
The software giant is just disgruntling. The software giant's statement is the most authoritative confirmation so far of the connection between Friday attack and attacker code that was disclosed in April by an anonymous group called Shadow Brokers, which said it had obtained it from the NSA. The U.S. spying agency has declined to comment on the matter. Yeah, they're going to deny it. In a blog post Sunday, Brad Smith, Microsoft President and Chief Legal Officer, said the U.S. Espionage Agency authored the software It was eventually stolen and made its way into the hands of hackers who used it in the assault that has disrupted computers in at least 150 countries. He compared to disclosure of hacking tools in March by the WikiLeaks organization, which said it had obtained them from the CIA.
Now, just so you guys will know, this is mainly relegated to Windows computers and older Windows computers, and
we don't have.
Yeah, which we try to not have anything to do with. Yeah. We like Macs, and if you're smart, you'll try to use as many Apple-based products as possible. Again, Microsoft is on top of it, but at the same time, they're pushing out software updates, but people have to implement and install the patches. One of the more useful bits of information is that because this is an ongoing story, we're learning that for $10.95, a researcher has registered a website that this exploit actually uses to activate and deactivate the exploit. And by registering a domain, a researcher has actually started to mitigate the spread of this particular virus. So again, for $10.95, a researcher, I think he's 23 years old, he found that this virus basically stops propagating when it recognizes that a certain domain has been registered. So I don't know what kind of idiots at the NSA overlooked the idea that you could turn on and turn off this virus basically by registering a domain. But there again, that's why these all-powerful three-letter agencies, sometimes we have to conclude that maybe these are not the smartest people on the planet.
Maybe the one where it all comes from,
right.
Where they started.
Maybe me and you and some of the people just being creative, just being diligent, we can come up with some solutions of our own. This is why we have to be very skeptical sometimes of what the government is doing and why they're trying to convince us how powerful and influential they are. Because right now, they're out of control. They didn't secure these government exploits and these tools, and they let it get into the hands of the hackers. And now the hackers are causing substantial damage throughout the world. And it's still going, and this story is going to continue unfolding. We don't know how far it's going to go right now, but this is where we are right now. But it's continue to unfold.
Repeatedly exploits in the hands of governments have leaked into the public domain and caused widespread damage, Mr. Smith wrote. An equivalent scenario with conventional weapons would be the U.S. military having some of its Tomahawk missiles stolen.
Now, see, this is a very good analogy. If you were leaving Tomahawk missiles laying around for people to pick them up and carry them off and use them, right, fire back into the United States or something, that's a major problem. And this is no different. These various agencies are leaving these tools laying around on their computers, unprotected, and the hackers are getting in and they're taking them, and now they're causing widespread damage. So again, we need to write congressmen, write to the senators and ask them, why is it that these agencies aren't doing a better job? And if they're going to be harboring or hoarding these weapons of mass destruction, otherwise known as viruses and or hacker tools or whatever that is, that maybe they shouldn't do it. Maybe we should just share information and patch up these vulnerable systems and just make sure that they're completely safe as compared to having backdoors, as compared to having hacking tools, which can be abused and misused. Okay? So that's my feelings, to lock down the system so that we don't have to have certain groups of people who can hack in, certain people who can't hack in, and, maybe if all the systems are hardened, all of them are encrypted, and then we won't have to worry about trusting these people, and then just to find out that, they betray our trust by being irresponsible. Because I don't think the NSA and anybody else is going to compensate all of these healthcare hospitals, systems, or banks, or whatever that have been broken into.
It's too much on a wide scale.
So that would be a class action lawsuit like you've never seen. if these guys could really go back to the NSA, FBI, CIA, or whoever and say, look, we need to sue you guys for being irresponsible.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen.
Okay. We have another story. Let's get into this second story here.
Intel chip bugs, excuse me, allows hackers remote access. How to stay safe. Intel has revealed that a lot of systems running on the company's chipset has firmware vulnerability which can allow an attacker to gain access to the PC. Intel has developed an updated software which ousts this vulnerability and is currently working with computer makers to integrate the update with their software for a smooth rollover. But until the new update is available, who knows how long that'll be, Intel chip-powered PCs are still vulnerable to remote attacks. The vulnerability could enable a network attacker to remotely gain access to business PCs or devices that use these technologies, the company said. The vulnerability enable the attacker to gain remote access to the keyboard and mouse of a PC, even when it is switched off, which is pretty scary. The firmware vulnerability was found on systems that utilize Intel Active Management Technology, AMT, Intel Standard Manageability, ISM, or Small Business Technology, SBT. Consumer PCs with consumer firmware and data center servers use Intel Server Platform services are not affected by this vulnerability, they said.
Okay. Now, this is kind of interesting because this is Intel, the major chip provider of 95% of all the chips that go into computers, saying that they actually have remote access tools that were installed on a lot of their chips and computers, or the chips that goes into the computers, that actually were used for diagnosis purpose and remote access. But there seems to be a vulnerability that's being taken advantage of. And they're scrambling. I can guarantee you right now they're scrambling to fix this issue and see how they can stop this from spreading. Let's see what else Intel is saying. How to find out if your system is vulnerable. Intel has released a discovery tool which analyzes your system for the vulnerability. A set of instructions for using this tool is also available on the download page for users who are non-IT professionals. The first link you see on the download page is the guide, and the one below is the discovery tool. For IT professionals who are well versed with the configurations of their systems and networks can also make use of the Security Advisory by Intel, which contains full details on the vulnerability detection and mitigation. We expect computer makers to make updates available beginning the week of May 8th. Today is the 16th, so this has been ongoing.
Hopefully.
And continuing thereafter, the company said. I discovered a vulnerability. Now what? Okay, Carolyn? So I discovered a vulnerability. Now what?
Oh boy, here we go. If the discovery tool detects a vulnerability, Intel has published mitigation guide in their Security Advisory, blah, 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 advisory, which lists ways to protect your system while the firmware upgrade resolving the issue are rolled out. Intel has also mentioned that the features and capabilities of the AMT, ISM, and SBTs will be unavailable if you go ahead with the mitigation. Other than this, you can call up Intel to support you through the process. Find the contact number for your location here at a link we'll put on YouTube.
Okay, so we got a link. You can diagnose your system, check out the vulnerability tools, and even contact the appropriate Intel office in your respective area when you use the link. Donald Trump.
I'm getting tired of this.
Donald Trump actually is doing something in the way of signing an executive order for cybersecurity. He's talking about protecting our infrastructure and such. Let's tell the readers what Donald Trump is up to as far as his efforts to protect our infrastructure.
This is probably all just about for him.
Well, let's see what he says.
Order directs agencies to create plans.
Wait, hold on. You missed this part here.
Well, you already said
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
order directs agencies to create plans to protect critical infrastructure from attacks. Donald Trump on Thursday signed a wide-ranging executive order, as he's always signing everything. Order aimed at bolstering U.S. cybersecurity, setting the stage for modernization of the government's aging information technology infrastructure, in part by moving toward cloud computing. The order marks an important step in the government's shift towards more sharing of IT services among agencies. The new approach is to view the federal government as an enterprise, as opposed to just viewing each department and agency as its own enterprise. White House Homeland Security Officer Tom Bossert told reporters at a briefing Thursday. Critics have said the U.S. government is vulnerable to cyber threats, which I think we know that already, in part because individual agencies' control over their IT budgets leads to over-reliance on customized systems that are expensive to run, difficult to replace. One result, they tend to become vulnerable to hacking. What else?
Now, just so you guys will know, we covered Donald Trump and the Trump organization and what they're doing as far as protecting their systems. They had the worst configured system. They had the most old, outdated implementation of Windows and the operating systems dating back 8 or 9 years. They hadn't patched, updated, did anything to demonstrate that they have any clue in terms of how to protect their own systems. Okay, I think Brian Krebs, one of the foremost security experts, talked about, well, actually he demonstrated because he logged into email service for the Trump organization. He took screenshots of what he found and he showed the whole world that, Windows Vista and XP, it was a joke in terms of why the Trump organization was using the most old, outdated versions of Windows and claiming at the same time that they would be helping us, that they could help us with cybersecurity. So they're not really demonstrating by leading or showing us what how smart they are. So we need to cross our fingers and hope that these people actually have a clue in terms of what they're doing based upon what I've seen so far. Yeah. Let's read on and see what's going on. What else is going on?
Scary.
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay, we spend a lot of time and inordinate money protecting antiquated and outdated systems, Mr. Bossert said. We've got to move to the cloud and try to protect ourselves. Under the order, a recently formed White House entity, the American Technology Council, will take the lead in preparing strategies for transitioning agencies to shared services, a task that is sure to be politically tricky. The move could benefit some players in the cloud and software services such as International Business Machines Corporation, Microsoft Corporation, Oracle Corporation, and Amazon.com Incorporated. At the same time, it could hurt some suppliers of hardware and IT consulting that currently sell products and services to multiple customers across the federal government. The order also directs federal agencies to do more planning to protect critical U.S. infrastructure from attacks and calls for new strategies for international cooperation on cybersecurity. Now, see, this is a lot of BS right here. I'm going to tell you, the government is not sharing, not partnering with private industry and corporate America when it comes to vulnerabilities that exist in our phones and our laptops, PDAs, computers, etc. They're exploiting these vulnerabilities. As we just discovered, this SSS 7 vulnerability in the messaging system has been known for a long time, and I can bet you that the FBI and the CIA are exploiting that to their heart's content and taking advantage of it, right? So, yeah, typically when your phone company knows about an exploit but doesn't fix it, because I used to work in the phone industry, and AT&T and Verizon and all those guys, whenever they were pressed, well, first of all, whenever they had a way of encrypting our conversations and protecting our conversations, they would postpone implementing it because they would get letters from the FBI and those guys saying, we need to know what people are talking about. We got to check. We got to protect you guys from the child pornographers. We got to protect you guys from the money launderers.
There's a reason behind that.
Right. So we don't get security, you guys. We don't get encryption. We don't get the privacy, right? Because they're too lazy to do their jobs and come up with the tools and spend and do the footwork or legwork, whatever you want to call it, to find out who the bad guys are as compared to the good guys. Everyone right now is a bad guy. Everyone deserves a dumbed down, woefully inadequate technology. You know, whether it's your smartphone, PDA, whatever it is. You know, you guys, we don't get the sophisticated, secure technology that we deserve because these guys are too lazy and too stupid to to do their jobs and to give us what we're paying for.
You can't trust anybody nowadays.
No. What else is going along with this?
The move was cheered by business groups who see it as a way to boost collaborative public-private efforts and reduce barriers for business seeking to secure their own networks.
Wow.
We stand ready to partner with the administration on building capacity and trust in regards to real-time information sharing between government and industry, says Thomas Donahue, president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And you're supposed to trust him, too. Daniel Castro, VP of the Informational Technology Innovation Foundation, an industry think tank, said the group was disappointed to see that this executive order is mostly a plan for the government to make a plan and not an actionable agenda.
Well, that's interesting. He said this is a plan for the government to make a plan. Okay. For themselves, not an actionable agenda. In other words, this is talk. Okay.
They're not protecting us.
This sounds like more talk, more rhetoric. I think we're going to move past this one, and we're going to write this one off as just a lot of hot air from the government because.
Sounds good to me.
Right. I can't see them cracking down and thanks, cracking down and letting us have any type of encryption and security because they want to know what me and Carolyn are talking about when we are texting each other back and forth talking about pick up some cookies and bring
really
home some
chocolate.
Right. That's important for the government to know.
We're going to go to PetSmart and get food for our cat. That's about its extent.
Lazy Bones, our cat, may need some treats, and the government probably wants to know exactly what all is going on there.
We're going to buy where we buy our treats, where we buy our vitamins.
Exactly. That could be a matter of national security if you're not careful. So this is interesting because let me give you guys a little teaser here. If you don't know it by now, we work in the surveillance and security equipment industry business. We sell, newsflash, we sell hidden cameras and such. And this article talks about hidden camera video storage. And it talks about storing video locally and storing video in the cloud. Okay, so with no further ado, let's find out what's going on here.
Shopping for a security camera can be overwhelming.
Wait. This is very important.
Local versus cloud hidden camera storage. Shopping for a security camera can be overwhelming. Here's one thing you really need to consider before you take the plunge. Two-factor authentication, That means less protection against security flaws that could put your home video streams at risk, such as those recently discovered at D-Link's cameras. Okay, we have a link.
Yeah, we have a link that's going to take you to this article where they talked about the D-Link security or insecurity issue. The FTC rather, actually sued D-Link because their routers and such were allowing hackers and anybody else to hack into them, look at your videos, intercept your passwords, turn on cameras, microphones, etc., etc.
These tips can help you secure your router. Before you buy or replace a device, do research online. Use search engines to find reviews, but be skeptical about the source of the information. Is it from a partial security expert, a consumer, or the company itself? Download the latest security updates. To be secure and effective, update the software that comes with your device. Check the manufacturer's website regularly for new software updates. Change your preset passwords. Change the device's default password to something more complex and secure.
Okay, I'm going to just say that our passwords, we cannot remember them. When I choose a password, it has so many characters and numbers and such. There's no way I can
Yeah.
remember it, okay?
You shouldn't be able to remember your passwords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Right.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So make sure you have a complex password that nobody can remember, and that a lot of these password boxes, if you will, that where you put the password, a lot of them are telling you whether or not it's weak or medium or
Secure.
strong
Right.
or secure, and try to make sure you reach that green area, whatever, however it notifies you. Make sure it says something about the strength of the password after you put in so many numbers and characters. Hopefully it'll tell you. But anyway, try to choose 10 or 12, 15 characters
And then you
long,
put it somewhere secure where you can find
where you
it
can
only.
find it later on. Okay.
Yep.
What else are we saying? Cameras are a key component of home security, acting as your eyes and ears when you aren't home. While there are a ton of different models available on the market today with a ton of different features, one piece of this buying decision is pretty universal regardless of your other camera must-haves: video storage. But there are two main types of video storage to choose from: local and cloud. And they're very, very different. Not only will selecting between local and cloud storage help narrow down your options fast, it will also help you get your priorities for your broader security system and smart home preferences down the road.
Welcome.
Oh, Sachin Bethesda just joined us.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much when you guys pop in and check us out. So local storage. Let's focus on local storage first. As the name suggests, this type of video storage saves your clips and other footage locally. Compatible cameras have micro SD cards, SD card slots that can generally handle anywhere from 16 gigabytes to 128 gigabyte cards. Sometimes a micro SD card is included with your camera purchase. Other times, you're expected to buy your own. Either way, here's how they work. Stick the micro SD card in the camera. Set your preferences and the related Android or iOS mobile app for your video storage. Your options are either event-based recording, that saves clips only when the camera detects motion or sound, and continuous recording, which records everything the camera sees 24/7. Also, you have scheduled recording, okay? Then when your card is full, you either have the option to continue recording and overwrite the previous footage, or stop recording and manage your footage manually. Oftentimes, you can actually view saved clips in the application, but you can also remove the SD card and stick it in a card reader and a card reader adapter if needed, if you're interested in saving videos to your computer. This option is a favorite among folks who are concerned about privacy, since local storage puts video management in your hands. It also makes video more accessible. Just buy a micro SD card and the footage is readily available to you without having to pay a monthly fee, as is common with cloud storage. Okay, so that was all about local storage, and Carolyn is going to talk about cloud storage.
If you aren't interested in buying a micro SD card, a card reader, and potentially a card adapter as well, cloud storage might be a better bet. It's the same way that today's mobile phones store photos and other data in the cloud. Security companies do the same thing with the video footage from your camera. The method of video storage has grown in popularity in tandem with the smart home industry. With Wi-Fi enabled cameras and sleek mobile apps, companies want to appeal to a broader base of DIY enthusiasts who would rather not bother with local storage and isn't as concerned about potential privacy concerns. With cloud storage, your footage, either event-based or continuous, is sent off to remote servers. Alphabet/Google's Nest Cam, for instance, relies on cloud storage. It has its own servers and it charges you a monthly fee starting at $10 a month for 10 days of continuous recording. In the UK, the service starts at €80 a year for a 10-day video history. The U.S. monthly rate converts roughly to $13 in Australia money.
Okay. Many other brands offer similar subscription-based cloud storage programs, and it is generally more convenient than dealing with a micro SD card. Problem is, you don't have control over those remote servers, so outages can cause serious delays in accessing your saved videos, and you can't ever be entirely sure who has access to your footage. Now, we have to tell you guys we've, since we're security experts, we want to be open with you guys and let you know. When you trust someone else to manage the storing of your video, you and your wife are walking around, you don't have, you know, you don't have as many clothes on or something as you normally would, or whatever the situation is. If that's stored remotely on a server somewhere else, you don't, well, yeah, you don't know, right? And maybe some employees at the company, for quality control purposes, maybe they want to look at that video, right? Yeah. To see whether or not the video is being stored properly, whether or not it's clear and all of that, resolution is proper. So those are some of the issues you got to deal with. And also, Carolyn, if the FBI comes calling, and if some third-party company is storing the video, theoretically they can say, you know what? Out of all the 10,000 customers where you're storing video, 2 of them seem to be involved with some nefarious activities, and we want to see whether or not any of the other customers are also involved. So you got to give us access to your server and take a look at those videos and sort through them. They want to sort through them and see what's going on, right?
They're just being nosy, that's all.
Right, but think about the implications, because if you issue, if the FBI issues a gag order to the company and says, look, turn over the database of video to us, and by the way, you can't talk about it because I issue a gag order, right? So that could be a problem. Let's read on and see what are the problems
with cloud-based video storage. Since the 1960s and 70s, the Supreme Court and other courts have issued a series of rulings declaring the government does not need a search warrant to obtain your personal documents if you have already shared them with somebody else. For instance, since you allow your bank and credit card company to know what you buy, which no, I don't, really, and since you let your phone company know whom you call, you can't claim that information is private. If they are stored in the cloud, then the person who stored them in the cloud loses the right to object when the government seeks them.
Wow.
So in this digital age, police often do not need to show probable cause of a crime when they want to find out details about your life that they have used to find in your home. Instead, they can get your private files from corporations that store your records on their computers. And instead of a search warrant, the police might just need a subpoena, which is trivially easy to issue, says Bankston of the Center for Democracy and Technology. Law enforcement doesn't need a judge's approval to obtain subpoenas. Prosecutors can sign them off on their own. As can authorized employees at federal and state agencies. And law enforcement agents don't need evidence that there's likely a crime.
Wow.
They need only be able to show that the records they want are relevant to an investigation. It's just way too easy for them to get information that's none of their business.
Okay, so this sounds like this is an issue. I don't know if cloud-based video storage of what's going on in my home and going on in my office, I don't know if I need to really jump on that bandwagon right away. Someday we may implement cloud-based video storage at DPS surveillance equipment, but I think we're going to use some sort of technology that encrypts the information and makes it such that even if someone tries to look at it or view it or do something, it's going to be encrypted with the type of encryption that no one else can possibly break. Quite possibly.
Hopefully.
No, we'll make sure before we even use it. There's some eateries across the United States. Now, for those of you like us who like to eat, there's some restaurants where it looks like the hackers have compromised the systems. What about this? What about this situation?
A breach hits high-end eateries across the U.S. The latest victim of a credit card point-of-sale technology breach is select restaurants. The owner of several special occasion eateries across the U.S. According to its website, on which Google has placed this site may be hacked. Warning label. Select stable of food joints, including Boston's Top of the Hub, Parker's Lighthouse in Long Beach, The Rusty Scooper in Baltimore, Maryland. Parker's Blue Ash Tavern in Cincinnati. Parker's Restaurant and Bar in Downers Grove, IL. Winbury's Restaurant and Bar with locations in Oak Park, Illinois, and Princeton and Summit, New Jersey, and Black Powder Tavern in Valley Forge, PA. According to Brian Krebs, the likely vector of the hack is Select's POS vendor, which is called 24/7 Hospitality Technology. Having obtained a copy of a letter that 24/7 Hospitality CEO Todd Baker sent to Select, Krebs reported that the company said the hackers had access to all of Select's POS systems from late October 2016 to mid-January 2017.
Wow. Indeed, the letter confirms that hackers had access to all of 24/7's customers' payment systems. The systems, the letter said, were hacked by a sophisticated network intrusion through a remote access application. Now, we just talked about remote access vulnerabilities associated with Intel's products. So we don't know whether or not this is unrelated or not. Maybe it's related. Maybe they compromised some systems that Intel had something to do with. Okay, POS malware can strike in a number of ways, said John Chrisley, global CISO. NetSurian, a provider of managed security services for multi-location businesses via email. Simple phishing emails can prompt internal personnel to accidentally open malicious links and attachments, resulting in malware on the network and connected devices. It can also involve hackers spreading malicious code by breaching the remote access services designed to maintain the payment processing systems. These remote access services can be poorly configured with guessable passwords, enabling the hackers to break in and distribute the malware to hundreds or thousands of POS machines. 24/7 said the attacker subsequently executed the Poseidon malware variant, which is designed to siphon card data when cashiers swipe credit cards at an infected cash register. Krebs noted, he added, given how much risk and responsibility for protecting against these types of hacking incidents is spread so thinly across the entire industry, it is little wonder that organized crime gangs have been picking off POS providers for Tier 3 and Tier 4 merchants with Poseidon en masse in recent years.
Oh boy, here we go. Select has yet to comment on the situation, of course, and so far nothing is known about the potential effect on restaurant patrons, including the number of compromised cards. Chrisley noted that in today's threat landscape, a typical firewall can no longer be set up once and run without consistent monitoring, tweaking, ensuring the data coming from it was correlated with other systems. Some of these breaches may look like normal web traffic coming out of the firewall, and other attacks can even seem like legitimate DNS traffic, which may pass right by the typical unmanaged firewall, he said. It takes a different approach to stop some of these advanced attacks, and many products and service providers simply do not have the ability to stop them before they do real damage.
Wow.
That's disheartening.
Okay, finally, restaurants looking to protect themselves at the highest level should implement the following, he added: file integrity monitoring to tell when your files have changed that weren't supposed to change. Unified threat management appliances used to integrate security features such as firewall, gateway antivirus, and intrusion detection. Security information and event management, which is used to centrally collect, store, and analyze log data and other data from various systems to provide a single point of view from which to be alerted to potential issues. And next-generation endpoint security solutions used to stop attacks on the endpoint computers and servers before they could wreak havoc on other systems. Okay, so if you own a restaurant, work for a restaurant or something, take a look at the article, look at the solutions offered, and talk to your boss or something to see whether or not you can protect your systems. This final bit focuses on what?
Megadata breaches could drive the blockchain revolution.
Oh.
Enter blockchain An open distributed ledger that can record transactions between two parties efficiently in a verifiable and permanent way. Put another way, it is a distributed immutable databases automatically managed
autonomously, I think.
Put another way, it is a distributed immutable database that is autonomously managed without the need for a trusted third party.
No.
This makes it the ideal candidate for a variety of data security applications, and the information security world has already begun to take notice.
Oh.
Its core algorithm relies on two kinds of records: individual transactions and transaction blocks. Blockchain's code first makes each transaction to a unique hash value. The hash values are then combined in a hash tree or Merkle tree with a specified group of hash transitions, creating a block. Each block is given a unique hash that includes the hash of the prior block's header and a timestamp.
Wow.
And
Okay.
It's a little bit confusing.
Well, it's not confusing. Actually, the blockchain is more thought of alongside Bitcoin. Usually when you talk about Bitcoin, you talk about blockchain. Blockchain is basically the freeway that Bitcoin rides on. And blockchain is what allows the Bitcoin transactions to go from one place to the other without a whole bunch of third-party people getting their hands in the way,
Like the banks.
changing the information, changing the numbers, intercepting it, slowing it down. This is the future. Everyone is trying to implement blockchain, and it looks like, specifically in the security world where we're trying to secure data, our data, this is probably one implementation where we really need to take a look at blockchain, because when we send information to and from each other, from bank to bank or whatever, from company to company, we really need to make sure that no one is modifying it, changing it, intercepting it, etc., etc. And as I mentioned, when you append one record to the other, you time, date, stamp it, etc., etc., no one can get in between that, because one record connects to the other, and it's time and date stamped, and it's put into this ledger system that the whole world can see, and it's open source, so everyone on the planet can actually look at the code and see whether or not it's been changed, modified, whether or not it's working properly or not.
Okay.
Let's see. I think.
Since each.
Wait. Did you say this part here?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, go ahead.
Since each block's header includes the hash of the prior block, the two are linked, creating the first links of a chain. Since this chain is created by using information from each other block, each link is immutably bound together.
Right, that's important.
Originally invented by the as of yet unknown Satoshi Nakamoto, most likely a pseudonym, blockchain is an open source application whose core software is developed and maintained by a worldwide team of volunteers around the world.
Okay, so now that you guys are blockchain experts, let's find out what is the correlation, or why is it important to have data security flow onto the blockchain, and what possible advantage could it offer. Okay. Another area in which blockchain could revolutionize an industry is in data security. Traditional encryption for data at rest and data in flight rely on a robust encryption algorithm, centralized encryption, key management, and thorough auditing to make sure everyone is playing by the rules. Blockchain has the capability to remove the need for a trusted third party with data sharing, and then everybody say yay, and enhance auditing capabilities for organizations to quickly spot inside and outside threats. When it comes to data breaches, the truth is hackers often infiltrate a network days, weeks, or even months before they are able to access and exfiltrate sensitive data. Hackers often try to mask their footprints by modifying security logs, as many of these logs are just text files. Once accessed, they can easily delete whole sections with a keystroke. But with the blockchain, it's a distributed ledger, all but makes that impossible. If one node is changed, the other nodes detect that they're not in agreement with the tampered node and isolate it from the ledger network. This alerting network, thus alerting network administrators. Blockchain could be extremely efficient in retaining the integrity of security logs. So again, make sure you guys understand that when information is recorded onto the blockchain, it is linked, attached to other logs, time and date stamped, and you cannot go back and change it. It's there permanently, so if some hacker goes in there and tries to change a $100 transaction to a $10,000 transaction, or tries to modify a name, email, anything like that, it's not going to happen, okay? So this may be a very good, clever implementation of the blockchain, application of the blockchain into an area that we need to really closely look at as security professionals.
One way to get banks out of your pocket.
Right. Because
no third party. They charge
no
way
third
too many
party,
discount fees. It's ridiculous.
And the important thing, as Carolyn mentioned, there is no need to trust anyone. No. If I send you $1 million, that means me and you have an agreement that I want to give that to you and you want to receive it, and we don't need anybody else in the middle.
You don't need to pay a $600 or any amount, actually.
Exactly. And nobody's going to ask, what is it for, when you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, anything like that.
And the banks take way too long to give you to do that, to transfer money.
Exactly. And okay, what is this part here they're talking about?
Along with that, one of the best ways to detect malicious activity within your network is anomaly detection. With blockchain, each time a network-sensitive data is retrieved, the who and the when can be recorded within the distributed ledger. If any of these parameters do not conform to established norms, alerts can be registered within a company's SIEM, Security Information and Event Management. If the activity proves malicious, a response team can move quickly to shut the internal and external threat out of the network to minimize any damage.
Wow.
The blockchain revolution is just in its infancy. Venture capitalists worldwide are pouring billions of dollars into research and development. As well as they should, a blockchain promises to address some of the vulnerabilities of our current data security. Okay.
Now, I have to attest that, Wall Street is pouring billions of dollars right now as we speak into blockchain-based technology. A lot of them are not getting it and getting it correctly, but some of them are. Blockchain is not a cure for the common cold or migraine headaches or impotency or anything like that. Blockchain is very good for certain applications, and I think data security is one of them where we're going to really discover how to protect our privacy in a world where Facebook and Google and everybody else is selling us off for 5 cents per record or something. In fact, in February of this year, the U.S. Congress took note of blockchain as Representative Gerard Polis, Democrat, and David Schweikert, Republican, announced the launch of the Congressional Blockchain Caucus. In their announcement, they said blockchain's potential to reshape everything from the financial industry to supply chain to cybersecurity to healthcare is something we should embrace. Now comes the hard part of bringing this technology towards maturity. Okay, so that's pretty much it.
That was a few articles that were pretty interesting.
So what do you guys think about that? We like to conclude these shows with our request to have you guys share this with a friend,
relative, enemy, coworker,
associate. We don't really care who that is. We just want you to share it with someone.
Yeah, we're here to educate you guys.
And educate you guys, right?
And spread the word.
And if you have any need for our products, because we run a business, we've been doing this for 20 years, doing the surveillance and counter surveillance and all that. If you have any need, give us a call at
888-344-3742. We have lifetime guarantee warranty on all our products. And 24/7, 365 customer service. We even answer the phone on Mother's Day, Christmas Eve.
Yep.
What is it? President's Day.
Yep. Even Groundhog Day.
And Grandchildren's Day.
It doesn't matter. So we hope you guys enjoyed it, and we're going to conclude this. And we welcome you back, of course, to the next segment. Okay.
Thank you for viewing.
Have a good day. Thank you. Take care. Bye.